So let us look at the syllabus and see how we are going to proceed with the syllabus. So when you look at the UPSC examination, this ethics paper was introduced in 2013 as part of changes that UPSC made to the mains examination. It was introduced in 2013. First of all, we will have to say why UPSC introduced this paper in your examination. Second one is we have to see the relevance of each and every topic in your syllabus. Then we will discuss the syllabus. So first of all, why UPSC introduced this ethics paper in syllabus? Why? Because all these training institutions, Labasna, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy, these training institutions have made a complaint with UPSC. UPSC keeps on changing the recruitment process all the time, making changes. In 1990s, what happened? UPSC included these engineering subjects and medicine, which were not there before that. Because of this, what happened? Maximum, mostly from IITs and IIMs, are the ones who started clearing this examination, and they were getting very good marks in two options were there at that point of time. They are getting very good marks in mathematics and physics. Out of 600 days to get 500 also. There was no need for them to get marks in general studies papers. And those who are getting into services, they simply do not have any knowledge about administration. They did not have any specific domain expertise. Once they go to the field, what happened? They ended up as a failure. They could not succeed. They could not achieve the objectives of development administration. Next thing what happened is that the average age of people getting into civil services is around 29 years. Average age is 29 years, 28 years, 10 months. That is the average age. When you are getting into services at this point of time, it becomes difficult. It had become difficult for these training institutions to change the attitude of those people who are getting into services. For you to be a successful administrator, you need different kind of attitude and aptitude. They neither had the aptitude. Why? Because UPSC was not testing them on those aptitudes, on administrative aspects. With the two options that they had, mathematics, physics or chemistry or medical science, they were not testing them on administration. They neither had the aptitude nor the attitude, the required values. When you are getting service at the age of 29 years, training will be for 2 years. At the age of 31, you will be getting into the field. By the time you get to the field, your personality is fully developed. At the age of 29, your personality is fully developed. It becomes difficult for these training institutions to change the attitudes, the personalities of the people who are getting into services. And another major problem with the training of civil servants in India is that this training is not what we call productive or efficient in nature. Nobody takes the training seriously. You can see in police, out of 122, 119 people have failed in the examination this year, 2016 IPS batch. Out of 122 candidates, 119 had failed because IPS conducts examinations. In other services, there are nothing like that. IAS, there are no examinations as such. Anyone can pass them. Nobody takes this training seriously. And it is difficult to change the attitudes and aptitudes after they get in service because they are getting into services at a very late age. So the training institutions had a complaint to UPSC. Please change the recruitment process. Test the values that are necessary for civil services before they get into services. Because we cannot give them proper training after they get into services. They are not taking our training seriously. They said that we are not able to properly train them. Once they go to the field, they end up as failures. they have ended up as failures. They said that do something. Please test the attitude and aptitude necessary for civil services. So many committees were appointed by UPSC. YKL committee was appointed. PCOTA committee was appointed. Surendra committee was appointed. Second Administrative Reforms Commission also was there. All these commissions and committees, what they have said is that change the recruitment process. Test only those things which are necessary from the point of view of administration. There is no point in testing unnecessary things. That recruitment process is considered the best which fulfills the objectives of our nation. If you are testing them on physics or chemistry in two optionals, how does it really matter to them once they go to the field? You are getting 500 marks in physics, you become a district collector. After becoming a district collector, you are kidnapped by Naxalites. Will you go and tell the Naxalites about the laws of physics? Every action will have equal and opposite reaction. No. You will become a spectacular failure once you go to the field. They said that to test them on aptitude necessary for administration, skills necessary. Test them on attitude necessary for administration. And all these commissions and committees have unanimously recommended to UPSC that you must test them the values that are needed for administration. So in 2013, UPSC took the decision. They removed one optional and they have included this paper, ethics, integrity and aptitude. The objective is to see whether those who are getting into services possess the necessary qualities for them to be a successful civil servant. That is what they wanted to test through this paper. The syllabus of this paper is designed in such a manner that those who are getting into services have knowledge about, at least theoretical knowledge about everything related to society, life, and more importantly, civil services. They would like to see those things. Because this is what we study in ethics. If you are a good human being, you can be a good anything. You can be a good politician. You can be a good civil servant. You can be a good engineer, or you can be a good doctor. And if you are a good human being. So we should know what is this goodness, what is the objective of life, what is the essence of life, how should we lead our life. Because civil servants, they are the role models for others in the society. They should be leading by example through their actions, through their functioning. For that they should know what is good, what is bad, how to lead the life. And that is the reason why UPSC included this paper in the syllabus. Not only you should have theoretical knowledge, you must have the ability to put that theoretical knowledge into practice. And that is the reason why they have included the case studies to put you in a difficult situation and also asking you to come out with a solution to the problem. They had included the case studies. So all of us have the syllabus with us. Let us see how UPSC has tried to include all these things that are being suggested by various commissions and committees. How they have tried to include all these things in the syllabus. So the first topic of our syllabus, ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relationships, human values, lessons from the lives of and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators, the role of family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values. So this first topic of our syllabus is basically about our society, our traditions, our customs, our values and our ethics. It teaches us about why should we have ethics in our societies, what are the essence, what are the determinants of ethics, what are the consequences of absence of ethics in our societies, and why should there be ethics at all in our societies. And then what are the different dimensions of ethics, teleological ethics and deontological ethics, ethics in private and public relationships. What is good for an individual need not be good for the society. There is always conflict between personal and professional life. how to resolve the conflicts, how to find out solutions to the dilemmas. Then human values, lessons from the lives of great leaders, reformers and administrators. What we call it as virtue ethics. We learn our values from the lives of the great people, from the from the experiences of great people, leaders in our societies, in the form of reformers, administrators and other role models in our society. Then we talk about what are the important sources of ethics. How do we learn our ethics from? From where do we learn our ethics? There we will be talking about there you will be talking about the role of family, which is the most important source of ethics for any society. Educational institutions in inculcating values. Okay, if you want to know anything about the society, just look at the kind of family system they have. Look at the education system they have. Then you will know whether the particular country is developed or not. That is what we say, because children learn their values first from their parents, next from their teachers, That is what we will be studying. While studying about this topic, we will also be studying simultaneously the fifth topic of your syllabus, that is contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. Very important topic. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. You will be talking about Western philosophers, you will be talking about Indian philosophy. And very, very important, because this is what we will be doing. This is the essence of our entire ethics syllabus, because we will be talking about so many philosophers. You can be really caught between so many philosophers, not knowing how to study, where to study, and from what are the sources to study, because we have hundreds of philosophers around the world. What we should be doing is, we will be looking at only very important philosophers, most important, not more than 10 or 12 philosophers, because if you read more, you will tend to forget everything. And most importantly, we will focus on the application of their philosophies in our day-to-day life, and more importantly, application of their philosophy in civil services. At the end of the day, all of you are going to be civil servants only. So you must understand their philosophies. You must be able to apply their philosophies in your civil services as a civil servant. This is very important, because when you are doing the case studies, you are using all these philosophers again to justify the decisions that you have taken. So this topic is the most important topic of our syllabus. It covers the philosophical aspects. Next, after doing this, we go to the next topic, that is attitude. In attitude, you are talking about content, structure, function, its influence and relation with thought and behavior, moral and political attitudes, social influence and persuasion. That is what we will be studying as part of this topic. The first question that we are raising here is, again, why did UPSC include this topic in our syllabus? Why attitude was included? Why we say that our bureaucracy, our civil servants are inefficient because of the fact that they suffer from colonial attitudes. What are these colonial attitudes? They believe that they are the masters and treat people as subjects to be governed. That is the reason why Jawaharlal Nehru had said that this term ICS, Indian Civil Service, was a misnomer. It was not Indian, it was imperial. They were serving the British interest. It was not a civil, because they never behaved in a civilized manner. It was not service. They never believed in service. They always believed in ruling than governing. They always considered themselves to be the masters. Why our civil services has been a failure? Because they don't have the necessary attitude to succeed. Not only civil servants, It is the case of our political executive also. Our political executive, they always consider themselves to be the masters but not the servants. Our Prime Minister says that he is the first servant, but in reality, most of them behave like masters only, not the servants. So you should know how this attitude is formed in people. What is the content of attitude? What is the structure? What is the function of attitude? What is the relation between attitude and behavior? What is the relation between attitude and behavior? We should know what are these moral attitudes, what are the political attitudes, because at the end of the day, it is the political attitudes that determine the functioning of political systems. What is the difference between United Kingdom and India? The democratic structures are the same. Parliamentary democracy, multi-party system, universal adult franchise, everything is the same. But in India, why democracy is not successful and why it is successful in UK? For the simple reason that the political attitudes. In UK, people are aware about their rights. In UK, people vote on the basis of the performance of political parties. Whereas in India, people are simply not aware about their rights. They are completely ignorant about what happens within the government. And how do we vote in elections? We vote in elections on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste, on the basis of language, on the basis of race, on the basis of anything else but development. That is the reason why you can see at the time of elections, political parties trying to divide the society. BJP talks about majority communalism, Congress party talks about minority communalism. They know that they can easily influence the electoral outcomes by appealing to the emotions of people. No political party talks about development. No political party talks about development. If you look at the debate on the floor of the House recently on the confidence motion, not even a single person talked about development. Everyone was talking about either religion or caste or anything else. Nobody talked about development. Why? Because political parties, they can easily realize either Congress party throws a challenge to BJP or BJP throws a challenge to Congress party, saying that is Congress party interested only in the welfare of Muslim men? Does Congress party have interest in Muslim women also? If you believe that you are interested in the welfare of Muslim women, come and support a triple talaq bill. Everything is politics. Everything is either religion or caste. Nobody talks about real issues facing the country. Nobody talks about unemployment. Nobody talks about backwardness. Nobody talks about the conditions of roads in all major cities. Did any of the leaders who had participated in the debate talked about the basic problems faced by the people on the floor, on the roads? Not at all. Why? Because political attitudes. Political leaders, they know the fact that people can be easily influenced in the name of religion and caste. That is the reason why democracy is not at all functional in India. That is the reason why we say that we have a constitution in letter but never in spirit. The spirit of the constitution is never implemented. Why? Because we have to implement the constitution, political parties and people. People don't have any knowledge. Political parties know that they can easily manipulate the emotions and sentiments of the people. Nobody need to worry about development. That is the reason why UPSC included this topic, political attitudes, social influence and persuasion. If you look at all the policies of the government, most of the policies of the government are a failure because failure of the government to persuade the people to accept the policies. Any public policy can be successful only when there is active participation by the citizens. The government has simply failed. You take the case of, if you read economic survey, it says that more than 8 lakh crores of rupees are struck in public-private partnerships. Why? Because of the unwillingness of the people to give up land issues. Take the case of this bullet train corridor from Gandhinagar to Mumbai. It is facing so many problems of land acquisition. Why? Because of the failure of the political class to persuade people to accept the policies. That is why these social skills and persuasion are extremely important. For example, it is the case of our Prime Minister. He has excellent communication skills. He could have persuaded people to do so many things. But again, problem is that politics and ethics will never go together. They are only interested in winning elections and dividing the society. They use whatever the communication skills they have only to divide the society and rule the country. That is where we talk about social skills and persuasion. Next, after doing this topic, we will go to the next topic, that is aptitude and foundational values for civil services. Integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance and compassion towards weaker sections of society. This is what we talk about. Now the question here is, as we always ask, why did UPSC include this topic in your syllabus? Aptitude and foundational values for civil services. What is the difference between aptitude and attitude? Aptitude means skills, knowledge. Attitude means values. For you to be a successful civil servant, you require both of them. You require the knowledge of administration. You also need necessary values. That is what we study. Knowledge without values is dangerous. Values without knowledge is useless. You require both of them for you to succeed. So, why did UPSC include this topic? Because our civil servants have some amount of knowledge about administration, but they don't have the necessary attitude for administration. They don't have the necessary values for administration. Why? Because we have inherited a bureaucracy from the Britishers, what we call it as colonial bureaucracy. Britishers tried to develop certain attitudes among civil servants, what you call them as colonial attitudes. After independence also, our civil servants have continued with the same attitudes. They consider themselves as masters and treat people as subjects. With that kind of attitude, they could never succeed. They could never succeed. Why? Because, for you to become a successful civil servant, you require a different attitude, what we call it as democratic attitudes. And what are the democratic attitudes, democratic values? That is what we say here. Honesty, integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance and compassion towards weaker sections of society. These are the attitudes which are required for them to be successful. That makes them successful civil servants. That's what we study when we study about these values and attitudes. We say that if civil servants have empathy, nothing else matters. If they don't have empathy, again nothing else matters. These kind of statements we will make. Okay. And we will here he has given only, UPSC has given only 5-6 values here. We will be talking about at least 20 values civil servants must have. Not only the ones which they had given here, we will be talking about at least 20 more values which civil servants must have. And UPSC will keep on asking questions about them all the time in your examination. Next topic of our syllabus is emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities, and application in administration and governance. Emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities, and their application in administration and governance. What we say is that you require IQ, intelligence quotient. You need to be intelligent for you to be successful. But intelligence is necessary but not sufficient. It is necessary but not sufficient. The problem with all our civil servants is that they have intelligence, no doubt. Those who are getting services, highly competitive examination, they have intelligence, but what they lack is emotional intelligence. You know why this emotional intelligence is required? For the simple reason that they will be working under severe pressure. Lots of expectations from the people, If you become a district collector, you know, you have challenges from different sections of society. People are looking up to the district collector. Civil society organizations would be putting pressure on you. Media will be blackmailing you all the time by publishing stories. Political parties will be sitting on your head, both ruling party and opposition parties. And apart from this, you always face the challenges from your own administration, indiscipline, unprofessional attitude of your subordinates. You face the challenges from your superiors. They always keep on calling you to do something which is illegal, immoral, unethical. You face these kind of challenges all the time. And how do you respond to those challenges? How will you respond to those challenges? Your success or failure depends on your ability to face those challenges on a day-to-day basis. And that depends on your emotional intelligence. Whether you have that kind of a psychological and mental strength to face the challenges and to lead the organization in a more constructive manner. A leader must have emotional intelligence. He must be able to understand the emotions of others. He must empathize with the emotions. And for example, you are a district collector, 10,000 people are coming in front of your district collector's office demanding something. If you ask the superintendent of police to start firing on the people, he will never be called a successful administrator. You must go and talk to them, find out what their problems are, empathize with their problems, situations, and come out with solutions. Then only you will become a successful civil servant. 99.99% of civil servants in India are a spectacular failure because they don't have emotional intelligence. Can you imagine a situation wherein a person is dying of hunger? When do people die of hunger? For how long can we live without food? For how long can we live without food? Real hunger, not the hunger strikes by politicians. For how long? How many days? 15 days. So in your district, if there are hunger deaths as a district collector, how should you feel? Can you imagine people dying of hunger? How should you feel? And what do the district collectors do? Immediately, if there are any hunger deaths, they will say that they are not hunger deaths. They will say that they died because they ate poisonous food. They will say that they died because they committed suicide. They will say that they died because it was voluntary on their part. You try to camouflage all these realities because you don't want any bad name for yourself. The government will never accept that people committed suicide out of poverty or hunger. You take the case of farmers. Since the beginning of 2000s, more than 250,000 of farmers committed suicide. 250,000 means 2.5 lakh farmers committed suicide in the country since the beginning of 2000s. But no state government will accept the fact that they have committed suicide because of their issues related to debt, loans, or financial problems. So when the Maharashtra government recently submitted a report to the central government about the farmer suicides in the states, it said that most of the farmers committed suicide because of family problems. They committed suicide because of depression. They will never accept the fact that they committed suicide because of the financial crisis they were facing. That is where emotional intelligence is required. You must understand the feelings and emotions of the people. Is it possible for a rich person to feel the emotions of a poor person? For example, does Rahul Gandhi know anything about poverty? Did he ever experience poverty in his life? Then if tomorrow if he becomes the Prime Minister, can he be a successful Prime Minister? Because he does not have any empathy. Empathy. To experience poverty, what did he do? Some time back, to experience poverty, he went to the houses of poor people, stayed with them, what we call it as poverty tourism. Stayed in the houses of poor people, snatched their food, violently and eating their food with the tears in his eyes, he would say that I have seen poverty in front of my eyes. People will be dying of hunger. That is what our political leaders are. That is where Mahatma Gandhi becomes very important. Okay. A Prime Minister who wears 10 lakh rupees suit, can we expect him to solve the problems of poor people? Obviously not. Emotional intelligence. You require empathy. That is the reason why we say that emotional intelligence is what that really separates from an ordinary administrator from a successful civil servant. Emotional intelligence. That is the reason why UPSC included this topic in your syllabus. Whether you have the necessary emotional intelligence or not. For example, your superior will be putting a lot of pressure on you to sign on a particular file which would benefit the superior. Do you have the necessary mental strength to stand up to your superior and say that I will not sign the file? That courage of conviction, do you have it or not? That is what they would like to see. As a civil servant, as I said, you will be facing so many challenges on a day-to-day basis. Do you have it in you, that internal motivation, one of the important aspects of emotional motivation, one of the important aspects of emotional intelligence, to see whether you are willing to face up all those challenges or not. That is what UPSC would like to know from you, whether you have that emotional intelligence or not. To see whether you have emotional intelligence or not, you must know what is emotional intelligence also. Next, come to the other topics of syllabus. Public or civil services values and ethics in public administration, status and problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions, laws, rules and regulations, and conscience as sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations and funding, corporate governance. Basically, till now we have seen the theoretical aspects. This topic onwards we will be looking at the practical aspects. What are the practical aspects related to ethics in governance? And these topics require a good knowledge of public administration. These last two topics require very good knowledge about public administration, because at the end of the day, all of you are going to be administrators. That is what we call aptitude, the knowledge about administration, skills regarding administration. So as part of this, you will be talking about what are the sources of ethics. You will be starting from the ancient religious texts like Mahabharata, Ramayana, Kautilya, then come to the modern times, Mahatma Gandhi, and so many other philosophers will be looking at philosophical basis of governance. Okay, then we will be looking at laws, rules and regulations and other things as ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance. Why should there be any accountability within administration? What is this accountability? Why should there be any accountability? What happens with the absence of accountability? And strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance. How to strengthen ethical and moral values in governance? Code of conduct, code of ethics, public services code, rules and regulations. All these things you talk about. Ethical issues in international relations and funding, corporate governance. We will talk about what are the ethical issues in international relations and funding. And we will talk about ethics in private sector also in the form of corporate governance. The next topic of the syllabus is probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government, RTI, right information, code of ethics, code of conduct, theory and charters, work culture, quality of service delivery mechanisms, utilization of public funds and challenges of corruption. Again, as I said, all these topics require very good practical knowledge of public administration. Practical knowledge of why people don't get marks in ethics paper, why the average score is very less, because people don't have a knowledge of, I am talking about practical, not the theoretical knowledge of public administration. You should know how the corruption takes place. You should know why should there be any code of conduct and code of ethics. You should know the difference between code of conduct and code of ethics. You should know why there should be transparency in governance. You should know why people participation is necessary to ensure success of development administration. Most importantly, you should know why corruption, anti-corruption measures have always been a failure in India. All those things, you are expected to know. And the last topic, as we say, is case studies on above issues. Basically, what is the objective of including case studies? At the end of the day, when you join civil services, when you become civil servants, you have to take decisions. Administration is all about taking decisions and implementing the decisions. That is what we say, governance. Governance is nothing but the process of taking decisions and implementing them. As administrators, UPSC would like to see, as future administrators, they would like to see whether you have the administrative capabilities or not, whether you have decision making abilities or not. That is what they would like to see, whether you have those decision making capabilities or not. That is the reason why they have included the case studies. Not only you should be able to take decisions, you must also be able to convince others about your decision making skills. That is what we say, emotional intelligence. You need the social skills to convince others about your decisions, and you have to justify your decisions, because most of the time decisions always face resistance from different sections of society. It is almost impossible to ensure unanimity in decision making processes. There cannot be any unanimous decisions. That is completely ruled out. What you can achieve is consensus. What you can achieve is majority people on your side, when you take the decisions. And that is what UPSC is looking at, whether you have those kind of decision making skills as well as the skills to justify your decisions or not. And that is what they have done as part of the syllabus. This is the essence of the entire syllabus. So what is required for you to succeed in this ethics paper? What is needed for you to get good marks in ethics paper? Apart from what the syllabus mentions, you also need to have very good knowledge of Indian polity. You need to have very good knowledge of Indian economy. You also must have good knowledge about Indian society, and also Indian administration. Then only you will write good answers in ethics paper. If you are good with General Studies paper 1, 2 and 3, automatically you will be getting good marks in paper 4. Not only you must be good with those papers, you should know how to use these concepts in ethics. What is happening is that people are getting good marks in paper 1, 2 and 3, but they are not getting good marks in ethics because they don't have the ability to use this knowledge in ethics papers. Application of the knowledge is what is required for in an ethics paper. You need practical knowledge, not theoretical knowledge. In paper 1 to 3, theoretical knowledge is enough. In paper 4, you require practical knowledge. That is what is required for you to succeed in this ethics paper. That is what is needed. So, as a part of our classes, that is what we will be doing. We will be focusing more on the practical aspects, less on theoretical aspects. And the conceptual clarity is required definitely. What is honesty? What is integrity? What is the difference between honesty and integrity? What is the difference between love and compassion? What is the difference between empathy and sympathy? We should have knowledge about all these things, theoretical knowledge. But more than theoretical knowledge, what is required on your part is you need that practical applications, ability to put your knowledge into practice. That is what is needed for you to succeed in this paper. Okay. You need practical knowledge. UPSC is testing mostly the practical aspects of our society. Why do we have this caste discrimination? Why there is so much of sexual violence against women? Why there is so much of corruption in our society? Why, how do we express our patriotism? And Questions like why materialistic societies, we have witnessed a drastic decline in the value systems. What is happiness? What is happiness? They will ask you these simple things. We don't know. What is the essence of human life? They would like to know, they would like you to understand everything from a very pragmatic perspective. From a pragmatic perspective. Once you are able to understand this, it will become very easy for you to get good marks in ethics paper. As I keep on saying, you need that practical knowledge. And this practical knowledge is not there in the thinkers. It is not there with the philosophers. It is not there in the books. That's why when people come and ask me about what are the books they should read for ethics, I would say you don't have to read a single book for ethics, provided you have common sense. Provided you have understanding about life, common sense. That is what is required and nothing else. That is the reason why most of the time we will only be discussing the things in the class. It will be spent only on discussing, trying to find out the different dimensions and coming to a conclusion about a particular concept. That is what we will be doing. So, without wasting our time, let us get into the syllabus. Let us get into the syllabus. Ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics and human actions and dimensions. Let us look at all these things. Before getting into the syllabus, let me ask you some questions to find out about your attitude towards life. Most of the thing it will only be in the form of a dialogue, not a monologue. Okay. What is the essence of human life? What is the essence of human life? What is the essence of human life? Why are we taking birth? And what should we do before we die? Birth and death, they are not in our hands. We cannot choose our birth and we cannot choose our death. But we can choose our life, how we can lead our life. So what kind of life do we want? What is the essence of human life? What should we do? What should we do? What is the essence of human life? What do you want from your life? What you are expecting from your life? Yes. What do you want? Before you die, you must have some kind of goals, objectives. What do you want? Pardon? Meaningful contribution to the society and family. Okay, what do you mean by meaningful contribution? How many people can we remember? Those who have died. Can you be like them? Can you be like Mahatma Gandhi? If you are not like Mahatma Gandhi, then will you be unhappy with your life? Can you be like Mother Teresa? Right? Can you be like Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi? There are exceptions. As ordinary human beings, can we ever aspire to be like those people? Then, if this is what our aim in life, we will always be dissatisfied, unhappy, because we can never be like them. Then what? Yeah. Pardon? Satisfaction. The essence of human life is to have satisfaction. What is satisfaction? If you put effort and if you get the result, what is it called? Success or satisfaction? Do we call it as success or satisfaction? Or do you call it as happiness? What do you call it as? It is said that the essence of human life is to remain happy forever. We will discuss why we should be happy later. Okay. We say that the essence of human life is to remain happy forever. Happiness should be the ultimate objective. But what is happiness? What is happiness for you? Happiness can be anything. But if you are asked to define what is happiness, how do you define it? What is happiness for you? Satisfaction. Is satisfaction happiness? For example, you are extremely hungry. You have good, very good food. You consume very good food, tasty food. Will you be happy or satisfied? Will you be happy or satisfied? Yes. Satisfied? Happy? Pardon? Both of them are one and the same? Then what is the difference between happiness and satisfaction then? Let me ask you another question. Are you good or bad? Let me generalize the question. Are human beings by nature, are they good or bad? By nature, are they good or bad? What do you say? By nature, are they good or bad? Pardon? Are we good or bad? Are we moral or immoral? By nature, are we good or bad? Pardon? What is the reality? For that you should know what is good and what is bad also. Let us take the general definition of good and the general definition of bad. Are you good or bad? For example, let us take another example. You are walking on a street. No one is there on the street. Suddenly on the side of the street you have seen a bag containing say 10 crores of rupees. Will you take it or not? Will you take it or not? No one is there in the vicinity. Will you take it or not? I am asking a question. You will give it to the police. I like this kind of innocence. Very, very innocent, a toddler kind of innocence, Police will distribute it among themselves, So, this kind of innocence, Okay, will you take it or not? Let me rephrase the question to create more ethical dilemma for you. You are urgently in need of 10 lakh rupees. You need the 10 lakh rupees for the operation of your close relative, your mother. Suddenly you find that bag on the street side. Will you take it or not? 10 lakh rupees. Will you take it or not? Yes or no? Is it good or bad? Is it good or bad? Good. Stealing others' money is good. The bag was there at that place means somebody must have forgotten it. It does not belong to you. Why are you taking it? You will say that I am not stealing this from someone, anyone else. It is there on the roadside. If not me, someone else would have taken it. I needed this money for surgery immediately. I am taking this money for a right cause. There is nothing like good or bad in this world. So by nature, are we good or bad human beings? Are we good or bad? See, these things look very simple. Ethics, that is the reason why difficult to understand ethics. Because at the peripheral level, all these things will look very simple. Once you go deep into these things, it is very difficult to find solutions to what we call ethical dilemmas. Very difficult. Because it is a situation that makes us either good or bad person. It is a situation. For example, the same situation, the bag is there on the street side. On the other side of the road, there is a billboard is there. It says that there might be CCTV cameras in this area. Will you take the bag then? You will not. Why? Why you will not take it? Because you know that if you are caught, you will be punished. Your behavior is always conditioned by the circumstances. Is always conditioned by. Your values are always defined by the circumstances, situations. They are always defined by the situations. So continuing with this, let me ask you one more question. We will try to answer all these questions as we proceed with our syllabus discussions. One more question let me ask you. What is the relation between success and happiness? Does success gives you happiness or does happiness results in success? I am asking a question. What is the relationship between success and happiness? In mathematics you study about cause and effect relationship. What is the cause here? What is the effect? What is the independent variable? What is the dependent variable here? Does success gives you happiness or does happiness gives you success? Pardon? Success is the cause and happiness is the effect. That means it is the success that gives you happiness. Today you have seen the final results of UPSC examination. You got into IPS. That success gives you a lot of happiness. Tomorrow you are posted in Chhattisgarh and you are kidnapped by Naxalites. They are threatening you every day that they will kill you. Do you remember the same success fondly? So is that kind of success giving you happiness? Then you will be blaming yourself, you will be criticizing yourself, you will be abusing yourself on the day when you took the decision to prepare for this examination. Because since you took the decision to prepare for the examination, since you had become successful, you are facing the problem now. If you had not prepared for it, you would have gone to America, earned money in dollars, enjoyed life, rather than being kidnapped by Naxalites and threatened by them every day. So does success gives you happiness? What is the relationship? As I said, what is the relation between satisfaction, success and happiness? That is what about understanding about life. What is the relation between satisfaction, success and happiness? As we proceed, as I said, we will try to answer all these questions. Now, what is happiness? What is happiness? Acceptance of situation is compromise, not happiness. For example, I am a landless laborer. I am being ruthlessly exploited by landlord. I have accepted the situation. I have realized the fact that I cannot fight the landlord. I have accepted the situation. Does it mean that I am happy? No. You take a family's domestic violence. In the case of families, domestic violence, women accepted this fact that there is domestic violence. Does it mean that they are happy? Obviously not. So acceptance of the situation does not result in happiness. Pardon? It is a state of mind. Happiness is a state of mind. For that you must have mind also. Don't mind. Okay. If you write answers like this, they will not give you marks. The UPSC will not give marks because everyone will write the answer, start their answer with happiness is a state of mind. You have to define happiness in absolute terms, not in abstract terms. That is where we say conceptual clarity is required. As I said, let us try to answer all those questions as we proceed with our syllabus. That is the essence of your ethics paper. Trying to find answers to all the ethical dilemmas that we face in our day-to-day life. What is the essence of human life? What is happiness? What should we do to remain happy forever? What is success? What is success? What is real success? If you get into IAS, does it mean success? Obviously not. It is nothing but a realization of your dream. It does not mean that you become successful. You had become successful for yourself, not for the society. Not for the society. If you become the Prime Minister, you have realized your dream of becoming the Prime Minister. It does not mean that you are doing great things for the society. If you have money, it is success for yourself, not for everyone else. Real success is something different. Next, what is peace of mind? We keep on talking about all these things. Peace of mind. What is peace of mind? In emotional intelligence, we talk about these things. What is this peace of mind? What is peace of mind? How many of you can go to sleep every day in a peaceful manner? How many of you can get sleep the moment you are on the bed? How many of you can smile 24 hours? How many of you have this kind of peace of mind? How many of you can go to sleep without struggling to sleep? Yes. How many of you can do that? Yes. You can. Tomorrow examination is there. Will you? I am not talking about ifs and buts. Some of you will be writing mains also this year. At least those who are writing. Or for next year, anything else. How many of you, as I said, have this peace of mind? Not to worry about anything else. How many of you don't have any fears? Known or unknown fears? What are the fears that you have? What kind of fears that you have? Do you have any fears? That is what emotional intelligence is all about, knowing about your self. Do you have any fears? Yes? What are the fears that you have? Pardon? Fear of failure. Okay. Next. Pardon? Pardon? I did not get you. Criticism. Okay, you fear criticism by others. Obviously, the same fear of failure. If you are a failure, you will be criticized by others. That is what they say. Success has many fathers, whereas failure is an orphan. Right? So, as long as you have fear, you will not have any peace of mind. That is what philosophers say. You will not have any peace of mind. If you don't have any peace of mind, you will never be successful. If you are not successful, you will never be happy. All of them are interlinked. We will try to find out the interlinkages as we study about the philosophers. As we study about the philosophers, we will try to understand about all these things. So this is what broadly I just wanted to know from you about your attitudes. Okay, let me ask you one more question. How much amount of money do you need for you to be happy for the rest of your life from now onwards? Let us take that you are 25 years and you live up to at least 80 years. Sir, in the next 55 years, how much amount of money do you require to test your attitude towards life? How much amount of money do you need? Yes, from today till the end of your life. How much amount of money do you need? Pardon? No limit. No limit. If you have to put a limit, Amazon founder is the richest person in the world at this point of time. Do you need that much amount of money? How much do you want? Yes, how much amount of money? Take extremely liberal view. You take all your necessaries, luxuries and comforts and everything. There is no limit. Let me put the question in a different manner. Today if I give you 100 crores, will you stop preparing for UPSC? Yes. Will you stop preparing for UPSC? I just wanted to know why you want to get into civil services. Will you stop preparing for UPSC if I give you 100 crores? Or let me add one more zero. 1000 crores. Will you stop? Yes? No? You don't know. That is what we say self-awareness. We don't know anything. We don't know anything about ourselves. We don't know anything about our true self. That is where the problem is. We don't know the essence of our life. Why we are, we take birth and we die. Those things are not in our hands. But what we should do in between, we don't know. That is the reason why we do so many things which are not necessary from the point of view of the essence of life. That is the reason why we are never happy. That is the reason why we never have peace of mind. That is the reason why we can never be successful also in the true sense of the term success. In the true sense of the term success. That is what exactly ethics will teach us. Ethics will teach us about all these things. What is the essence of our life? How to lead our life? How to find the solutions to the ethical dilemmas that we face on a day-to-day basis? How to be happy, successful and contented? And how to lead what you call a moral life? Why should we have this ethical standards of living? That is what ethics will teach us. So let us see. As I said, let us proceed and look at all these things. As I said, we will be trying to answer all these questions as part of our discussions. We will try to answer all these questions. Okay. How many of us do not discriminate people? How many of us treat each and every person equally? How many of us do not discriminate people on the basis of their gender, religion, caste or language? Is discrimination there in the society or not? Why? Why? Why do we discriminate people on the basis of religion, Hinduism, Hindus or Muslims or Christians or Buddhists or Sikhs or anyone else? Why do we discriminate people on the basis of their caste? Why do we discriminate people on the basis of their language, nationality, so on and so forth? Why this kind of discrimination is there? Why? What really has influenced our attitudes so much that we discriminate all the time? How many of us have respect for people who are below in terms of hierarchy than us? How many of us have respect for housemates? How many of us have addressed poor people in respectful terms? Do we? Did we? Yes? Will you show the same kind of respect for the Prime Minister as well as the peon? Yes? You don't. Will you? Same respect for Prime Minister as well as a person living below poverty line? Will you show the same kind of respect for a Prime Minister and a beggar? Yes? You don't. Will you? No. How many of you call your housemates in respectable terms like Ji, Sir? You call your superiors with Sir, yes Sir, like that. How many of you address your housemates also like that, domestic servants like Sir? Do you? No, why don't? That is what we say about attitudes. That is what we say about attitudes. And that is what we try to find answers to as part of our discussions. So let us start with ethics. Let us try to understand what is this ethics. What is this ethics? Let us understand what is this ethics. How do we proceed? First, we will find out why should there be any ethics in the society at all. Why should there be any ethics? Why should societies must have ethics? Then we will talk about what is ethics, what is the definition of ethics. Then we will talk about what is ethics, what is the definition of ethics. Then we will talk about what are the important sources of ethics. What are the important sources of ethics? Then we will see what are the different dimensions of ethics. What are different dimensions of ethics? Then we will try to understand these three terms: ethics, morals and values. We use them as synonyms, but they are different. What is the difference between ethics, morals and values? Then we will talk about, we will try to find out the answer to the question: are these ethics, morals, values, are they absolute or are they relative? Are they universal or situational? We will try to find out answers to these questions. We will try to find out answers to these questions. Next, we will talk about the dynamics of ethics. Dynamics of ethics. that is how these ethics and values have changed over a period of time. What is good today need not be good tomorrow. What was good yesterday need not be good today. They keep on changing. We will try to answer all these questions as part of our discussions. From this topic only, we will have at least in section A every year, out of 12 questions, at least 5 questions are only from this topic. The most important topic. Okay, 5 questions will be from this topic only, out of 12 questions. So let us start with why should there be ethics in any society. Then we will talk about what is ethics. Why should there be any ethics? Why should there be any ethics in any society? Why should we have ethics? The first thing we say is that the natural tendency of any society is to move towards entropy. What we say is that natural tendency of any society is to move towards entropy. Any civilization or any society, any culture is to move towards entropy. Entropy means destruction. Entropy means destruction. What we say is that with the passage of time, the only thing that is certain is destruction. With the passage of time. Why do we say this? It is the case of human beings. Human beings. What about human beings? With the passage of time, we will be moving towards our what? Final destination, that is death. The only thing that is certain with the passage of time is we are much more closer to death. Now, when people celebrate birthdays, you take them with a pinch of salt. Why? Because every birthday is a reminder to them that they are moving much more closer to the death. It is a fact. That is what is life. Okay. No one is permanent in this world. All of us are mortals. No one is permanent. When human beings are not permanent, can human created institutions be permanent? Society is nothing but what? An institution created by human beings for themselves. Society is nothing but an institution created by human beings for themselves. So, what happens with the passage of time? Only thing that is sure is destruction. Now, the question here is, if you want the societies and the civilizations to continue for longer periods of time, if you want the civilizations and societies to continue for longer periods of time, we must ensure what we call negative entropy. If we want the civilizations to continue for longer periods of time, we must ensure negative entropy. Negative entropy means, positive entropy means destruction, negative entropy means survival for longer periods of time. Survival for longer periods of time. Negative entropy means survival for longer periods of time. And this survival for longer periods of time is possible only when a society has a right kind of ethics. This is possible only when the society has a right kind of ethics. Ethics are needed to ensure negative entropy or to prevent positive entropy. That is what we say. We want our civilization to continue for longer periods of time. You look at all the great civilizations, ancient Roman civilization, all other great civilizations in the world, they had disappeared without any trace. Roman civilization, Greek, this Roman civilization. Then we had Mesopotamia civilization. We had this what are the other civilizations? Ancient civilizations. All of them had disappeared. What is the reason why our civilization continued for 5,000 years? The question that was asked in your General Studies paper 1 history. What could be the reason why our civilization continued for such a longer periods of time? What people had practiced 5,000 years back as part of traditions and customs are being practiced by people even now also. The Vedic civilization is still there in our country. All the practices, customs and traditions which we are having now are being continued from thousands of years. In those days also they worshipped the same gods. Now you take the case of Greek civilization, ancient Greeks. Everything is completely different in terms of their culture, religion, customs and traditions. It has completely wiped out. Roman civilization, Mesopotamian, all these civilizations had disappeared without any trace. And what is the reason why Hindu civilization continued for 5,000 years? Vedic civilization. That is what the question. And the answer is the ethics. It is the ethics, the traditions and customs and cultures and the norms that are responsible for continuation of civilizations for longer periods of time. Otherwise, natural tendency of any society is to move towards entropy. And the first reason why we say that ethics are needed, because they are needed to ensure negative entropy, to ensure survival of societies or civilizations for longer periods of time. The most important reason why we need ethics. Next reason why we need ethics in our societies. Second reason, why do we need ethics? As we have said, by nature are we good or bad? By nature, human beings, are we good or bad? We are neither good nor bad. We are rational. We are neither good nor bad. We are always guided by self-interest. We are always guided by self-interest. Darwin's theory, survival of the fittest. We are always guided by self-interest. Right? We are always guided by self-interest. There are very few people who could rise above self-interest. Otherwise, 99.999% of humanity is always guided by self-interest. What is the problem with self-interest? What is the problem with self-interest? Yes, what is the problem with self-interest? Self-interest easily transforms itself into selfish interest. It easily transforms itself into selfish interest. What happens with selfish interest? What happens with selfish interest? We always try to deceive others, cheat others, exploit others. We try to deceive others, cheat others, exploit others. Why? Because it is in our self-interest. Now the question we are raising here is, if every person is guided by this self-interest, what happens? If every person is guided by selfish interest, what happens? There will not be any societal relationships. There will not be any mutual trust and faith in relationships. Will there be any mutual trust and faith in relationships? Obviously, there will not be any mutual trust and faith in relationships. what happens? It results in entropy. Simply it results in entropy. The societies will get destroyed. That is the reason why we say that those societies which are corrupt are likely to be destroyed much faster than those societies which are honest. Ethics are required because human beings are always guided by self-interest, selfish interest. We don't mind exploiting others, we don't mind cheating others, we don't mind deceiving others as long as it is beneficial for us. That is what as human beings we are. We are neither good nor bad. It is the situation that makes us either good or bad. If I ask you a simple question, how many of you have not copied even once as a student in examinations? How many of you have not copied even once? Yes. These questions you know the answer, right? You cannot be looking at me like this. Yes or no? Copied? How many of you have not lied even once in your lifetime? How many of you have not lied even once? If you say you have not, that is your latest lie. Okay. Okay. Not the first, nor will it be the last. Okay. All of us know that cheating others is a crime. All of us know that copying in the examination is a crime. It is a bad thing. But why do we do those things? Why do we do those things? We are always guided by selfish interest. Right? We are always guided by selfish interest. Given an opportunity, all of us will be bad only. We are good because either you don't get any opportunity or because the punishment for being bad is very high. That is the reason why we try to be good. That is what ethics talk about. Ethics are required to guide our behavior. Why? Because by nature we are neither good nor bad. We are only self and selfish in our interests. That is the reason why we require ethics. Next reason why we require ethics in our societies. What is the next reason why we need ethics in our societies? Next reason is why do we need ethics in our societies? We say that human beings are social animals. Human beings are social animals. We say that human beings are social animals. And what do we say? What do you mean by social animals? Human beings are dependent on others for their survival. They are dependent on others for their survival. We are dependent on others for our survival. Is it possible for us to live life all alone? Is it possible? If we are hungry, we cannot produce our own food. Can we? Can you go to an agricultural field, start ploughing the field, produce rice, food grains and eat it? No. We don't know any of these things. We don't know the difference between paddy and rice also. What is the difference between paddy and rice? We don't know. Okay? That is what we say. If we are hungry, we cannot produce our own food. And if you have problem with your health, can you cure your own disease? No. If you want education, can you educate yourself? No. We are hopelessly dependent on others for our survival. We are hopelessly dependent on others for our survival. When we are dependent on others for our survival, what kind of relationship should we have with others? What kind of relationship should we have with others? What kind of relationship should we have with others? That is what ethics will teach us. Ethics will teach us about the dynamics of relationships. It will teach us about the dynamics of relationships. How the relationships should be governed. What are the norms that should define the relationships? For example, if I believe only in taking something from others, can the relationship survive? No. I should be able to give something to others also. If I start exploiting others all the time, after some point of time what will happen? Others will revolt against me. Ethics will define the contours of relationships between different sections of society. Why? Because human beings are social animals. They are dependent on others for their survival. You don't require any ethics if you are leading your life all alone. If you are living in a deep forest, or if you are living in Himalayas all alone, you don't require any ethics. You can do the things the way you like. But since you are living in a society, since you are dependent on others for your survival, you require these ethics to guide your behavior. To guide your behavior. You require this ethics to regulate your behavior. That is another reason why we need ethics in our societies. Another reason why. Next reason why we require ethics in our societies. What is the next reason why we require ethics? We say that development of any society development of any society depends on the ethical infrastructure of the society. Growth and development depends on the ethical infrastructure. Growth and development depends on the ethical infrastructure in the society. What is the difference between a developed country and a developed country? What is the difference between India and America or UK? The difference is not in economic parameters. The difference is there in value systems, ethical infrastructure. You take the case of countries like India, South Asian countries or African countries. They have huge amount of natural resources, abundance of natural resources. What is the reason why India is not developing as fast as say America or UK or other developed countries? Why? Because their ethical infrastructure is very, very strong. That is the reason why sometime back UPSC asked a question, crisis faced by India. This was also a topic in essay. Crisis faced by India, is it moral crisis or economic crisis? Crisis is always moral crisis. There is no reason for India to be a poor country. Take the case of Japan. It was also destroyed completely during the Second World War. 2 nuclear bombs, a small island, fully destroyed. Added to that, Japan lies in the heart of a Pacific Ocean, which is one of the most dangerous oceans. It is always impacted by natural disasters, whether it is cyclones or tsunamis or earthquakes. Now if you happen to read today's newspaper, global warming, temperatures have reached 40 degrees in Japan. It has become very hot and humid country. With so much of difficulty, Japan could succeed. After the complete destruction during the Second World War, it has recovered very fast, and within a very short period of time, By 1980s, again Japan had become an economic superpower. Whereas India got independence at the same time as Japan at the end of the Second World War. And what we are doing, even after 70 years of independence, we are still a developing country. Can we ever become a developed country? What is the per capita income of India compared to that of America? When can India become something like America? Recently we felt very happy because we have become the 6th largest country in the world in terms of GDP, nominal GDP. In terms of purchasing power parity, we are 3rd largest purchasing power parity, 3rd largest country. In terms of nominal GDP, we had become the 6th largest country, overtaking France. Right? What is the population of France? What is the population of France? 65 million people, 6.5 crores. And what is the population of India? 130 crores. Income of 130 crores people is equal to income of 6.5 crore people. When will India become France? When will we become France? Can India ever become France? No. Why not? Because this ethical infrastructure. We have everything in our country. Natural resources, human talent, physical resources, everything is there. You know, India is the best country to live in this world. It lies in this equator. You know, that is the reason why temperatures are not extremely hot or extremely cold, and it has so much of diversity. If it is extremely cold, hot, you can stay in hill stations. If it is extremely cold, you can go to the south. You have everything. Okay? You have all the things that are necessary for you to become a developed country. Why you are not a developed country? Why? Because the growth and development of any country depends on the ethical infrastructure. That is the reason why we require strong ethical foundations. What is the attitude of people in India? What is the mentality? What is the behavior of people in India? They want to become rich in a short period of time without working. We don't have what you call work ethos. Ethos means values. We don't have the work culture. We don't want to work hard. We want to become rich by adopting immoral and unethical means. Given an opportunity, that is what we will do. You know, given an opportunity, how many of you will not cross the red light? When there is an opportunity for you to cross the red light, all of us will cross the red light. All of us will, you know, all of us will try to bend the rules and regulations if it is benefiting us. That is what is called corruption. A corrupt society can never become a developed society. That is what is, you know, a society can be called developed only when the society is hard working. What is the reason why in India we don't have any patents, we don't have any innovations, we don't have any Nobel Prizes? Because people know that they can become rich without hard work. There are easy ways to become rich without working hard. Ethical infrastructure is very, very poor, extremely poor. No, it is very difficult to find honest people in our country. People are honest because they cannot become corrupt. Given an opportunity, everyone will become corrupt. That is why we require ethics. You require ethics because the growth and development of any country depends on the ethical infrastructure. That is what we say. So this is the reason why we require ethics in our societies. The first one we have said is natural tendency of any society is to move towards entropy. Second one we said is that human beings by nature are selfish. Third one is we are dependent on others for our survival. And the fourth one is the growth and development. These are the reasons why we require ethics. Yes. Which one? What? Indian culture not has, it had strong ethical values. In the past, our ethical norms were good, not now. It has changed. That is what we said, the dynamics of ethics. In the past, people were hardworking. It is the case of freedom movement. It is the case of freedom movement. Hundreds and thousands of people have sacrificed their life for the sake of the country. Can you name at least one person in this present generation who is willing to sacrifice his life for the sake of the country? Apart from army, it is part of their profession. Any other person who is willing to sacrifice his life for the sake of the country? No. Freedom movement, that generation was different. At that point of time, politics were practiced on the basis of principles. What Mahatma Gandhi called it as politics and principles. Now we don't have that kind of situation. Okay. Now, that is the reason why we study, as we proceed, we say that it is easy to be successful and difficult to be honest in our materialistic societies. You can easily become successful by manipulating rules and regulations. Nirav Modi has shown how you can ruthlessly exploit the banking system, how you can earn thousands of crores of rupees. The scam is almost at 20,000 crores. How a single person can ruthlessly manipulate the systems. He had shown 20,000 crores of rupees. Okay. It is very easy to be successful in India, but extremely difficult to be honest, because we don't have this ethical infrastructure wherein honesty is rewarded and corrupt is punished. On the other hand, what kind of ethical norms are there in our society at this point of time? We have corrupt being rewarded and honest being punished. That is where the problem. That is where the problem with our societies. So these are the reasons why we require ethics. Let us proceed further and look at what is ethics. Let us try to understand the term ethics, because we keep on talking about this all the time. What is ethics? What is ethics? What are ethics? Very simple definition we will give. What do we say? Ethics are the set of traditions. They are the set of traditions, customs. They are the set of traditions, customs, values, norms, NORMS, rules and regulations. Rules and regulations which are developed in a society over a period of time. In a society over a period of time, with the objective of maximizing the welfare of people. With the objective of maximizing welfare of people. That is what we say ethics. So what is the definition we are giving here? What we are saying here? Ethics are nothing but a set of traditions, customs, values, norms, rules and regulations that are developed by a society over a period of time. What is the objective here? To benefit the society as a whole, to maximize the welfare of people. Let us see this definition in a more detailed manner. Let us look at, let us have in-depth analysis of this definition. First and foremost, what we say is that Ethics is always about others. It is always about others. It is not about ourselves. Ethics is always about others. What do you mean by that? Ethics is always about others. It means that ethics always talk about the welfare and happiness of others, not our own happiness and welfare. Ethics always talk about our relationship with others. They always talk about our relationship with others. They talk about the happiness and welfare of others. They talk about our relationship with others. The first thing that we have to remember about ethics is that it is all about others, not about ourselves. Next thing we say is that ethics always focus on the society as a whole. They always focus on the society as a whole. They always focus on the society as a whole. Ethics is not about individuals, it is about the society. It is not about individuals, it is about the society. Next, what do we say about ethics? The next thing that we say about ethics is that, what is the essence of ethics? Ethics always, they always focus on individuals making sacrifices. They always focus on individuals making sacrifices for the sake of the society. For the sake of the society. For the sake of the society. That is what ethics will do. They always focus on individuals making. Why? Because why should we make sacrifice for the sake of the society? It is based on the assumption. It is based on the assumption. It is based on the assumption that individual's happiness lies in the LIS in the peace and prosperity of the society. Lies in the peace and prosperity of the society. It lies in peace and prosperity of the society. So what are we saying here? Let us try to understand here. Here we talk about two schools of thought here. While explaining this point, we talk about two schools of thought. What are these says? Should we give importance to self-interest, or should we give importance to societal welfare? Whenever we take decision, what should be the basis of our decision? Is it self-interest or societal welfare? Should we think from the point of view of the society, or should we think from our own self inner interest point of view? Society. Yes? Society or self-interest? What is it? What is it? Should we look from the point of view of society or from the point of view of our only self-interest? Let the society go to hell. I am only bothered about, concerned about my own welfare. What should be the case here? What should be the case here? Pardon? If there is conflict, what should we do? If there is conflict between self-interest and societal welfare, what should we do? Let us try to understand. As I said, there are two schools of thought here. First school of thought was developed by Adam Smith. Adam Smith, economic and moral philosopher. Adam Smith, also known as the father of economics. Adam Smith, known as the father of economics. What did he say? What did he say? He said that let every individual be guided by self-interest. Forget about society. He said that let every person be guided by self-interest. Forget about the society. Don't worry about the society. Just only take into consideration self-interest, nothing else. Then what did he say? He said that if every person is guided by self-interest, there is an invisible hand. He said that there is an invisible hand that transforms this self-interest into societal welfare. There is an invisible hand. He said that there is an invisible hand that transforms self-interest into societal welfare. That is what Adam Smith has said. There is an invisible hand that transforms self-interest into societal welfare. Forget about the society. Don't think about the society. Don't care for society. Just think about your only self-interest. Every person in the society is only interested in maximizing his own welfare. Then society will automatically become developed society. That is what he has said. Let us try to understand how this takes place. What is this invisible hand? We know the visible hand, Congress party symbol. What is this invisible hand then? What is this invisible hand? How many of you have studied economics? Economics, graduation. Studied? Yes? No one has studied economics. Very good. Then I can teach economics also. As long as you don't know anything, I can teach everything. Okay, fine. Don't worry. I have done post-graduation in economics, so don't worry. Okay. So coming back here, let us try to understand what Adam Smith has to say with a simple example. I am a businessman. Say I have 10 crores with me. What is my objective here with these 10 crores? I must utilize this money in such a manner that I get maximum returns. Now what are the ways in which I can utilize this money so that I can get maximum returns? What are the ways? If I put the money in the bank, what is the rate of interest given by money bank to me? 8%. Inflation is 5%. The real rate of interest I will be getting is only 3%. The real return is only 3%. Is it wise on my part to put the money in the bank? And then I will have to pay taxes also. I will have to pay taxes also. So, should I put the money in the bank for 3% return? Next, what are the other sources for me? I can put the money in the stock markets. But the problem with stock markets is, we don't know where they can go up and where they will come down. Highly unstable. I might be losing all my 10 crores. I will become a beggar. Or I might earn 100 crores also. So much of instability. So I won't be able to put the money in the stock markets. Then what will I do? What will I do? I will try to put this money to productive use. I will start a factory. I will start an industry. So that I can produce goods, I can sell them for a profit. The profits will be at least 50-60%. If it is rate of interest, it is only 3% I will be getting. Profits can be 50-60%. So to start an industry, what do I require? What do I require to start an industry? I require land. I require land. Then I require raw material. Raw material. Then I require technology, capital. Then I need people also, workers have to work. Right? They have to work also in my factory. So what I will be doing? I will be creating a demand for landlords to sell their land. I will be giving money to them. When I purchase raw material, again I will be creating demand for raw material. There will be demand for their products. Same is the case with machinery. When I am employing people, I am paying them wages. I am paying them wages. When I am doing all these things, is there any welfareist motive here on my part? Is there any altruistic ambitions here? Am I thinking about the society here? Why I am doing all these things? Why I am doing all these things? To maximize returns, so that I can produce goods and services and sell them in the market for a price, for a profit. 60% profits, 70%, 80% profits. Okay. And what I am doing here, this one, landlords are benefiting, raw material owners are benefiting, technology companies are benefiting, and people are also benefiting. Now look at it from the point of view of other people. When the landlord is selling the land to me, is he selling the land to me because of the industrial policy of the government that it says that people should use the land in a more productive manner? No. Why is he selling land to me? Because he is getting a better price for his land. Similarly, when the people come and join my organization as employees, workers, what kind of motive they have? Selfish motive. Why? Because they need this money to sustain their families. Every section here who are contributing to me, all of them have only self-interest, right? Yes? Are they thinking about the society? Are they thinking about welfare? No, all of them have only self-interest. But what is happening here? Even when everyone is guided by self-interest, what is happening here? There is a growth in the society, growth and development of the society. That is what Adam Smith has said. There is an invisible hand that transforms self-interest into societal welfare. When the worker is coming and working in my factory, he is coming and working in my factory not to increase the productivity of the economy, not to increase the GDP of our country, not to improve the export potential of our country, not to get more balance of more foreign exchange for the country through exports. He has none of this interest in his mind. Why is he coming and working in my organization? Because self-interest. But with his self-interest, so much of societal welfare is taking place. That is what exactly Adam Smith has said. Adam Smith has said that let us not think about society. Let us not think about big things like welfare and all these things. Let every individual be guided by self-interest. Automatically this self-interest transforms itself into societal welfare. That is what we say. It is only the capitalism that can ensure growth. Growth is not possible in socialism. Why capitalism only ensures growth? Because every person would be competing with other person. There will be innovation. There will be discoveries. There will be efficiency. and there will be profits. Everyone will benefit out of it. That is what Adam Smith has said. Adam Smith has provided what we call moral foundations for capitalistic societies. Capitalism runs on what? Capitalism runs on profit. What is the oxygen for capitalism? What is the oxygen for capitalism? Profits. And Adam Smith has said that don't ever feel bad about profits, because as a capitalist you are doing so much for the society. If you are getting profits in the process, don't feel bad about it. He has provided moral foundations for capitalism. He said that forget about the society, think about yourself. You will be, the society will automatically develop. If every person is hardworking in the society will automatically develop. He said that if every person takes care of his self-interest, it automatically turns itself into societal welfare. But is this argument completely right? Is it right? No. This argument is not completely right. Why? Why this argument is not completely right? Because there is no limit for self-interest. There is no saturation point for self-interest. There is no saturation point for self-interest. And that is the reason why capitalist societies are always highly exploitative in nature. That is the reason why these capitalist societies, they are always highly exploitative in nature. Why? Because there is no saturation point for profits of capitalists. There is no limit. This is what we say. There is limit for everything in life. If you are extremely hungry, you can take some amount of food. Beyond that you will say no. There is only one commodity in this world for which there is no saturation point, and that is money. When I ask you the question, what is the amount of money you want? You could not answer. Why? Because any amount of money is not sufficient. Mukesh Ambani, is he happy all the time? No. Why? Because he always looks at Amazon founder and sees that when will I reach his position. Mukesh Ambani, $40 billion. Amazon founder, $150 billion. He will say that there is one more person who is above me. He will never be happy because there is no saturation point for money. There is no saturation point for profits. And that is the reason why capitalism always results in exploitation. That is where Adam Smith is wrong. He says that if every person takes care of his self-interest, it will result in societal welfare. It is not the case. It only results in exploitative societies. Poor people will be exploited. Backward sections will be exploited. Women will be exploited in the name of satisfaction. That is what we say. We don't agree with the statement. That is the reason why we say that we require ethics to guide human behavior. I think we can stop it here for today, and tomorrow we will continue with these things. And what is important, you must remember, is all the discussions that we do in the class rather than what you write in your notes. That is very important, because all the things that we are doing in the class will not be there in any of the textbooks. We are focusing more on the practical aspects, and that is what UPSC will be asking also. Tomorrow onwards, class will be at 11:30, and it will continue up to till 2 o'clock, 2.5 hours classes. And whatever we do in the class, as I keep on saying, will be more than enough for you to answer all the questions in ethics paper. You don't have to study anything beyond what we do in the class.